Hey guys, and welcome to today's First Impressions video, the video game series in which we look at a recently released game and I give you my first thoughts and impressions on it. Today we're looking at Taxi Simulator, which came out on early access today, and it is pretty much exactly what it says on the tin. You start your own taxi company. You've got to keep an eye on your own health as well as the state of the taxi. You go around, you pick up fares, and you drive around the city. You grow your business and see where you end up. It is very early access, and it's very obvious it's very early access. There's a lot of things that they could do to improve it, but we'll take it at face value as it came out today. As always, we'll look at the settings first and we'll see what they've done with that, and then we'll jump into the actual game and see what it handles like. So let's not waste any more time. Let's jump straight into those options. Alright, so the settings then, it is kind of just tacked on to the top of whatever screen you're on at the time. Does it the same in game as well. Also, I don't know what they've done with it, but the text is really blurry and it's not great. It's not ideal. There also isn't really a lot of options to choose from in this game, and whilst I agree that it is early access, it would be nice if they started to add some more optimization and accessibility options in there. What is nice to see is that motion blur is off by default. We like that. We don't know why it's in there, but we do like the fact that there is no motion blur by default. Then you've got your quality settings overall, your display, your resolution, what frame limit you're setting it at, how you want to do the full screen, and your sync count. Then you've got your audio. Now, it is worthwhile to turn the audio down. Unfortunately, just start it at full volume, and it is a very loud game with the music. However, the sound effects and other sort of effects within that, if you turn those down, you can barely hear them in game. So it is worth noting that you are going to probably have to play around with the audio to get it just right. Controls. This is a really strange one. I'm really happy that it uses a controller because you are going to be driving around, right? I don't know whether it's got wheel compatibility either, but the fact that you can move around with the controller and then drive with it is very rare on these sort of simulation games and very nice to see. However, for the stuff or the parts where you're not in the car, you really want to be using a mouse and keyboard. However, there are no controller inputs for the mouse and keyboard. Mouse and keyboard work, but you've kind of got to figure out what it is you're doing. And again, if the sensitivity is up too high, using your mouse, you will be spinning around all over the place and it becomes very, very difficult to do. So that being said, I would advise using the controller with this game, although if they were to add some more settings for controller versus keyboard and mouse, it would be nice to see. Your language settings, I don't know why this is in its own setting. Like, honestly, it could go into controls or even audio. There's no point in really taking up a full section or a tab for just one setting. It seems like a bit of a waste to me. And then your vehicle. You've got your speed limiter, drift, anti-lock, stability, sport steer, anti-spin, traction control, automatic, and progressive steer. There's quite a few options that you can switch on here to really customize your driving experience because, let's be real, you are going to be driving a taxi, you're going to be doing that a fair bit. So there's your options. They're not bad. Could be do with maybe a bit of tidying up, a bit of clarity, reduce the amount of blur that they seem to have on the options. Maybe make it blend in with the background a bit more, or giving it its full own section or screen. And just generally a few more options here and there would really improve the experience of this game. Speaking of the game, how does it play? Let's jump into it. Alright, so gameplay. Here we are. We are in a taxi. This is the view that you're going to be seeing the most of. You drive around the city, take jobs, make money. And the more money you make, the more you'll be able to expand your business. I'm assuming hire new cars and, you know, really make a good going of being a taxi driver. You start basically homeless with a mattress and a broken down car. You do have to put the car back together. Thankfully, that's not all that difficult. And you are going to be thankful once you start driving that you can use a controller. A few issues I've got with the game are mainly subjective and mainly like artistic in style. Firstly, the way the car looks from the inside. They've done some really good jobs on things like the sat nav and the dashboard and the steering wheel, and then you look around the rest of the car and the textures are awful. The lines aren't very good. Again, this is an early access game, but it's not... I would expect it to be a bit more finished than this. I would appreciate it if a game, when it comes out on early access, was at least more than an alpha stage. The other problem I've got with it is that they've opted to give you arms, and it's really disorienting to look at because your arms cross over each other when you steer. So if you have to do a hard lock to turn around or anything like that, it's really just not a good look. Most simulation games I know don't really do that. They just give you the steering wheel because of this reason. On top of that, there are a few other issues that I've got as well, namely the traffic lights. They seem to stay red for far too long, and as you can see, other cars don't really follow the law of the road. They just ignore them. Whereas if you ignore them, you get fined or penalty, although it doesn't actually seem to take any money off you. It just tells you to check your computer, which I haven't really worked out how to do yet. So it feels like the game's got a lot of potential, but at the same time is unfinished, and that's a problem. That being said, the actual jobs themselves, when you're able to find them, they don't overstay their welcome. They're fairly quick and easy to find and get through, and it's quite therapeutic. It's very chill. It's nice to just drive around and do taxi jobs. It kind of makes me feel like I'm playing old school GTA when you do that in GTA 3, find some taxi jobs and make some money that way. Overall, it's not a bad game. It needs a lot of work. It is very, very early access, but I'm pretty impressed by what I can see so far. The mirrors seem good. The speed limits are there. The dash looks amazing. The jobs aren't too bad. I'm very interested to see what they're going to add as they continue to develop this game. I'm hopeful, yet skeptical. So let me know in those comments down below, guys, what you think, if Taxi Simulator is going to be for you. And thank you very much for watching, guys. I will see you all next time. Ciao, ciao.